Hi y'all! I posted a picture of my Ecoline dyed papers the other day, and you were all so incredibly sweet about it. You kind of made me a bit shy. And you wanted me to share this technique, even though I'm not sure it's called a technique. But I would love to share it with you. I hope you're not disappointed because it's fairly easy. It's not a big thing or anything. Um, Please, if you are going to do this, wear gloves because as you can see, I'm blue. And yes, I've been singing that song this week because I am blue. So, luckily, I do not have to work until Friday, so I have some more days left to get this off before I have to face my students and tell them why my hands are all blue. So anyway, what I do is I use an oven pan that is basically the right size for an A4 piece of paper. You, of course, if you have a bigger one, please do. Just be aware of the fact that if you use a bigger pan, you will also need to use more of your Ecoline, which is, well, I think a shame because you will not use it all. So what I do is I use the cheapest printing paper I could find because this all started out as just some experiment where we I don't know, dripped Ecoline on it, started blowing with straws on them and tried with water and everything. So I wasn't sure what the result would be, so I didn't want to use very expensive paper on it yet. Anyway, so cheap printing paper and a good oven pan. So basically what I do is I fill this pan with a small layer of water, just enough that it will cover the A4 paper. You see only the tip of my finger is getting wet. And then I choose a color for the paper that I want to use as a base color for the paper. I'll show you. I made one before today, obviously, because I took pictures, and this is one extra I made that didn't work as good as I wanted to. Anyway, you can see the light color is the base color I made for the paper. So obviously I didn't want to use this paper because I thought I could speed up the process of it drying by putting it on the roster, and you can see the lines on it. So if you don't want that, don't put it on a roster. Put it in a pan and just let it do it in the oven, and otherwise let it air dry or something, because otherwise you will get those lines and it's not as pretty, or so I think. Anyway, for coloring the water for the base color of the paper, I just use a very old Ecoline I still had lying around, and I use this just because I need somewhat more of this for the watercoloring, and I do not want to use my newer Ecoline colors on those. You see, these are also it's the same content, really. And what I do is I just pour some into this water, not too much. It depends on how much you would like the color to go into your paper. This also looks so incredible. I can be hypnotized by this. Anyway, what you do is you just blend the water with the Ecolines. You just mix it really good so that it's evenly mixed and your water is a nice shade. You can of course do this with any color you want. I have done it with a yellow background and some green and red touches for it. I have done it with a yellow background and purple and orange touches, and I've done it with a blue background and purple touches. So just what you like. Anyway, when you have colored the water, you just gently put in your paper and let it soak up that water and that color. Be careful when turning it around because you will otherwise rip the paper, and just make it blend. And like I said, for this, please wear gloves because your hands will get blue or whatever other color you're using. And I just don't like gloves because I cannot feel what I'm doing. So you can already see the paper is turning a nice shade of bright blue. If you think it's still too light, you can put some extra coloring in there to get it a more vibrant blue. I can show you. It's just a matter of not dropping it on the paper immediately, because it will soak up in the paper and you will see spots there. So you can just put it in there and then carefully move your paper back, let it sit for a little bit until all the color is soaked up nice. And basically what you then do is you throw out the enormous amount of water that's lying on top of it, so that you are just left with a colored sheet of wet paper. So just going to do that here. That's why I have these plastic sacks under it, because I do not want the Ecoline to color my countertops, obviously. Might be pretty, but no, not for me, thank you. Anyway, the paper is still wet, and you want that because the Ecoline will like spread out if you drop it on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the red one, 337 578 for the blue, and maybe add a nice shade of purple, 507. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. And the benefits of this one is that the newer ones have these dripple things on them. I'm not sure what they're called. Anyway, you just drop them on the paper, whatever you want them, wherever you want them to, and you see they flow out beautifully. Don't be afraid if some of the back color is still showing, because obviously that is why we chose to color the paper before we drop on the Ecoline. And you will see that when we are starting to dry them later on, it will blend just fine, and you will not see as much of the background color anymore. It will just make for a nice well, background color, obviously. Anyway, when you're dropping the Ecoline, please make sure that you do not drop too much at a certain place, because obviously Ecoline is wet and it will make that some parts of the paper are drying more slowly than others. Maybe there's some pink, and maybe there's some pink as well. Anyway, just do whatever you want. Like I said, for the other ones, I made a orange yellow stuff over here, and the red and pink one at the top, and it flowed towards each other. So when you are done dropping in your colors, like I said, don't be afraid that some of the back color is still showing. You will see when the end result at the end that it's not a problem. Anyway, carefully lift it up like so. Don't move it around, because the paint will start to flow. And I preheated my oven to 125 Celsius. I think you could do it with a little less than that as well. And it's the hot air thing I have going in there, not the upper and lower heat, because the hot air flow will make sure that the paint flows nicely. I will show you later on when I like the mid result of when I have to turn the pan in the oven. Anyway, be right back. So here we are mid face, and I will turn the pan around because it needs to dry evenly. Oh, that makes a lot of noise. Anyway, you can see that the colors are already starting to flow out and blend in nicely. So just a couple of more minutes. So here we are. I think it's done because the edges are starting to curl up and I don't want them to turn black. So let's do it on this side because it has more daylight. Close the oven. Anyway, you can see the color has turned out great, and the camera doesn't do it justice because it's bright pink and purple and blue, and please try it for yourselves. You will see that it is such an amazing color. And of course, like with coffee dyeing, what I do is basically leave the sheets under a layer, under a few thick heavy books, so that it will like flatten out a bit. And well, this is what you get from it. Let me remove the pan. So I do not have the what you call it over here, the camera stand, because it's hanging over there, so I could show you the process of painting. So basically this is what the cover of your signature or just a random page in the book might look like. These are the ones I already made and I've shown you on the pictures I took. And well, I just say the blue ones are my favorite because I just love the purple and blue. But you can also mix them with more yellow or orange colors if you want. Just be really careful, because if you leave them in a little bit too long, you can see here a little bit, it turns a bit black brownish, and that's a shame, but it's just going to be like that. Anyway, both sides of the color are great to use as journal paper, or as just for collaging or anything. Anyway, I hope you had fun. Oh my god, you can see how blue my hands are. I hope you had fun and try this, and please show your results as well. I'm eager to see what you make of this. So bye.